There was not only problems with the war, but there was also problems with his restrictions. Stalin had a lot of restrictions, the Soviet restrictions on many things during his regime, and they were very harsh. Some were restrictions on religion and others on churches. Since the Soviet Union was most predominantly Christian, and many denominations from the Christian church. Many churches were closed under his regime, and religion had a big problem in Russia. As many people wanted to have their independency and wanted to practice their religion, they couldn't because of Stalin's very harsh rules, which often leads to death if not met. And so, Stalin made many concessions during the war so that they can pump up the patriotism and support for the war costs. So to do and get support from the civilians, they removed some of the Soviet restrictions on religion and allowed churches to reopen. And also, Stalin had some international communist rhetoric that was attempted to stir up nationalism in Russia, claiming that the Red Army was fighting for a great patriotic war, a name that involved the Russian Empire's defeat of Napoleon in 1812. As Stalin had many issues in his leadership, as many people plotted to kill him, and as the Germans were trying to destroy his regime, Stalin wanted to make sure that he was powerful. And he made the civilians and made a lot of propaganda and made nationalistic attempts to make sure that the Russians may grow up their glory and hope that the war will be in the Russians' hands. And that was one of the ways that Stalin diverted most of the protests and issues that arised in Russia. And that's how he went away with all those political issues that were caused there. There was a major defeat for the Germans in Russia, in Stalingrad and in Leningrad. We find a different change in political, societal views. As civilians now are in fear of what has come to the Nazi Germany, and new opposition parties have now taken this wonderful chance to attack the Nazi party because they're losing the war, and they were planning to regain Germany back to its original area. Because the Nazi Germany lost, there was a lot of chaos in Germany, as now many opposition parties, such as the Valkyrie, was implemented in order to assassinate the Germans and also to assassinate their leader. Some people came in their way and they were assassinated because they were political agendas for many opposition parties. In order to try to take down Hitler was a very, very big feat, and the July 22nd plot was implemented, but it was a failure.